Hey everyone, I'm Michael Simon from PC World and welcome back to Android Confidential, the first one of 2019. But before I talk about 5G and folding phones and everything else that's going to come out at Mobile World Congress, I want to talk about something a little bit smaller today. Watches. So when we're talking about smartwatches, there's basically four platforms here. We got Apple, which is kind of the undisputed leader with Apple Watch and watchOS. We have Fitbit, which is like the new kid on the block with their Fitbit OS. We have Samsung's Tizen that's doing their Galaxy stuff, and we have Wear OS, and there are a ton of these Wear OS watches of varying degrees of goodness. But I'm not going to talk about what's good about Wear OS. I want to talk about what I don't like. So I've nailed down 3 ways that I think Google can really radically change Wear OS to the point where we won't have a competitor to Apple. We'll have a completely different option so that people aren't buying what Apple is selling. Google is selling them a totally different alternative. All right, so my first idea, and you're gonna think I'm nuts, get rid of the apps. Get rid of the App Store, get rid of third-party apps, get rid of the whole development process for apps on a watch. When these things started out with the Pebble and those types of watches, they were companions. They weren't do-it-all devices. They weren't trying to be a phone on our wrist. And over the last 3-5 years, however long these things have been coming out, we have LTE, we have all these sensors and things, and they're trying to emulate what's on our phone. I don't want to look at a 1.3-inch screen and do all these things on my watch. I want to do it on my phone, and I want my watch to react. It's when I get into the apps is when everything starts going downhill. Now, first of all, the third-party development for most of these things is just garbage. You have to hunt for 20 or 30 different apps before you find one that's worth using. Aside from that, it adds a level of complication and it adds a level of confusion, and it kills battery life. It makes these things more expensive. We don't need them. So check this out. This is the LG G Watch, and a lot of you probably don't even remember it. This came out like 5 years ago. It's a square, which, I know we don't make those anymore with Wear OS, but I'm not talking about the shape or even the size of this thing, which is nice and kind of petite and thin. What it does is nothing. It's a companion. It gives me notifications. It lasts 2 days on the battery life without having to go in and shut off settings or anything like that. It works with my phone, and this is what I want for today's watches. Yes, they'll look better. I want them to look better. Look at this thing. But today's watches, they're trying to do too much, and this is what we need to get back to. All right, so next up is battery life. And the gold standard for these things is to last a whole day, which is really like 16 to 18 hours, however long we're awake, because we don't really do sleep tracking yet on Google Watches. That's a whole nother issue. But I'm not looking for it to last a day. I want it to last a week. And to do that, I want some kind of a separate mode, not a battery saver mode, like a watch mode, where I want 3 things. A watch face that tells the time, a system to receive notifications from my phone, and like a step tracker. And that's it. Give me the option to turn this thing on when I go on vacation or when I'm out for a while, whatever it is, that just lets me use it as a watch. People used to buy watches to tell time. That's it. Let me flick a toggle in settings that says watch mode. And finally, I want Google Assistant to just take over this thing. Now let me explain. Now I know Wear OS, we have that new screen. It's that assistant type feed that gives you all your stuff during the day, and it's real good. I like it a lot. I think they should take that and make a face out of that and turn it into a smart display. So when you look at the Google Home Hub, their new kind of smart speaker with a display, I mean, it is the simplest thing in the world. You don't have to touch it. You don't have to, it knows what's going on in the room. The display dims when the ambient light changes. We can bring that kind of reaction to our watches. So, that's it. It's simple. My Dream Watch, it doesn't even have a button. I flick it up to my wrist. It tells me what's going on. I put my wrist down. I want these interactions to be seconds, not tap, 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 tap. Where am I? Go back. None of that. And I think Google can really do that with Wear OS. It just needs to kind of focus and refine and take this platform and do something completely different with it. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our PC World's YouTube channel where you'll find all of our PC and smartwatch and Android coverage. And what do you want out of your smartwatch? Where do you see this platform going, and what do you want your next watch to be? Hit me up in the comments, and I'll see you next time.